Peep the concrete chronicles, my first appearance is iconic. Secret origin story written in the project's honest tonic. Got a secret identity when the system tries to track me, but my superpower's activated, ain't no way they're stopping that. See, nah, you can't stop the hustle, it's a mental kind of muscle. Every hero in the struggle makes the city.
Okay, beyond this point, spoilers. Go ahead, Telly.
Spoilers. Dude, I marked out that second episode when they did the X-Force intro, totally unexpected. I was like, this is awesome. That they just a little subtle change just to show it. I thought it was cool. I marked out when I saw Havoc in the Jim Lee jacket with the face belt. I was like, yo, even though they, like you said, they didn't flesh out the characters
Is that a Jim Lee design? You mean the
Yes. Yeah, the face belt like Gambit, the hair out the top, the blue and yellow leather jacket with the collars.
That's not a Jim Lee design.
That is Jim Lee's design.
Is it really? I always thought it was Capullo.
No, that's the design that he drew on the inside of that fold out X-Men #1, where they're all standing in a group with the vertical poster. That's where that look debuted.
Okay, I didn't realize. Yeah. I thought that.
Actually, you know what? That might be wrong. Jim Lee was the baddest that ever drew it. That costume actually debuted on Casada's run, I believe.
Okay, that honestly makes sense because that fits.
X Factor 92. But when Joe Quesada had a certain style to him, but when Jim Lee drew it, because he hadn't drawn X Factor in the comic books, when you saw X Factor in those costumes on that poster, you were like, damn, he looks awesome. Like the blue and yellow, and he's standing there.
He looked a hell of a lot better than his other look.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That. But when I saw that,
twink in a black costume with some thing on his head, like what the hell?
Yeah. No, dude, that Havoc looked awesome. Guido, strong guy, when he came in, he was like, I mean, if you're a fan of the character or not, it was just cool to see.
But who's a character strong guy, really? Who's a character a strong guy? I mean, who's a fan of strong guy as a character? Who's like, that's my character right there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, I will give you, I mean, as the guy who tries to change our intro every episode, changing the intro to the second episode was a baller move. So I'll give you that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then did you see the third episode? They put Magneto and stuff in it.
I know. I saw all of it. Now,
yeah.
But that's the shame. That's the real shame, though. And like to really kick the walls out and like introduce the world to this. This is the X-Men. This is how much there is. This is a fraction of the thing. You know, this is. But to serve them like leftovers from the best stories of the X-Men, I think is a real dumb move. Because none of these stories are going to scratch the itch of those. So you can either riff on them and tell a better story, or you can tell the original story adapted to the. But it feels like the biggest criticisms for Star Wars Episode 7. I know you're not a Star Wars fan, but people say it's like you took the original trilogy and you put it on random and you just wrote down a movie that came out of it without really giving anything any room to breathe. And I think that this show is really doing. Now, you're in the beginning of a run. So maybe I'm judging it based on early preconceived notions, but I can tell you one thing for sure, and I was thinking about this while I was watching. Remember, I loved this character. Remember, I was X-Men kid. I was a Marvel fan in the 90s. I was about X-Men. I am not as much about X-Men now. I think the whole mutant thing is passé, but is Cable interesting without the mystery of who is Cable? And I think the answer is no. I mean, in a room full of people that can break shit with their in a room full of people that can break stuff with their mind, I'll bleep that out, or set the world on fire. He's a guy with a metal arm and a gun because he can't use his powers because he's using it to hold back the. So, like, in a weird way, he's the Punisher in the X-Men story, and
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
without the context of the mystery that started in like X Factor 5 back in 1984 that carried on through our childhood. So for us, he's a big deal because we lived with who is he and the slow reveal of who he was, who Strife was, who, the Ascani stuff, all the Apocalypse stuff. But like when you're giving it to you just straight in the vein, like this quickly, oh, he's that kid, he's this kid, they're teaching him this, Apocalypse is here. It's not that interesting. So
Yeah,
I have less faith that the rest of the season is going to wow me because they think they have synthesized that story in a way that's going to make it make sense. If they introduced him alongside Apocalypse and then they revealed that he was the kid later on in the series,
yeah,
then that would be like, you gotta watch this like a person that doesn't know the X-Men. They're literally singing to the choir with this show. They know
yeah.
that the people that they're playing for are watching because they love the X-Men. So all they're doing is they're showing you like flashcards. So you go, oh, it's that moment from the Magistrate Saga. Oh, it's that moment from Fatal Attraction. Oh, it's that moment. But they never really tell a good story with it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I think they really do need to flesh out more. Another thing I liked Storm's power signature. I think that was the first episode when she was up in the sky with the sun and everything. I thought that was pretty awesome. I liked Psylocke. I thought she was surprising to be on there, especially because she was the version from the Jim Lee art. That costume they went with, I thought that was pretty cool. I would have loved to see her, like in that Uncanny X-Men cover where she debuted with the Mandarin in the trench coat. I thought that would have been cool. I like that.
If there was a
Uh,
character that's got a convoluted ass story, it's Betsy Braddock as Psylocke, and
yeah,
how they would. I mean, it's cool that she's there, but don't try to tell that story in the cartoon.
no, no, no. Just use her as Psylocke the assassin.
um,
Who else was oh, Jubilee, you mentioned that earlier. They gave her that scene that she had was
probably one of
better
the best
than
ones in the
every scene that she
show.
had.
Probably one of
Yeah,
the best
yeah,
ones
she
between
did.
1 and 2, which, in my
Yeah,
opinion, kind of points out that they're pushing the same agenda that Marvel has been guilty of for all of Phase 4 and 5,
yeah.
because they're really only giving a female character a real chance to show. I mean, a real like what other combat was there in the episodes? 3 episodes.
Oh, yeah, they had Apocalypse. That was cool when Apocalypse jumped off his horse and he took that what was it, the elephant? The what do you call those big elephants? The doesn't start with a T. The real big elephants, the huge ones. You saw the ones I'm talking about. When he picks up the elephant, he's throwing it around, and he that was crazy to show his strength and stuff. I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. He took that dude right off of that elephant and beat the crap out of everybody with it. I was
I
like,
gotta
wow.
tell you, I read a lot of
Even
X Men
Magneto.
comics. I read a lot of X Men comics over the years, and all I know about Apocalypse is the "I'll do it myself" scene from Thanos, because that's literally all I ever saw Apocalypse do in comics. I never saw him do
Yeah,
anything cool in comics other than turn other characters into something scarier than what they were. So
yeah,
like, oh, it's
yeah,
Apocalypse, and Apocalypse is just like
yeah.
he's
He did
Doctor
the
he's Doctor
he
Claw
did
from
from Spectre Gadget. Yeah, he
Inspector
did
Gadget.
he did. Well, this is from, I believe, the Rise of Apocalypse, where he's in that type of uh past whatever AD or BC it was from. But I thought that fight scene was kind of cool. Magneto was certainly surprised. Did you see the Easter egg with the Onslaught helmet?
No.
Yeah, there's a brief scene. I forget where it was.
Oh, Telly, you're killing me, dude. Because you know what that means? That means that's coming too. It's another thing that really needs
Well,
a
yeah,
chance to
they're
breathe.
just
Yeah,
inserting
but man, like, come
cards.
on, in one season, like you're talking about,
Yeah,
you're talking about 30
it's
years
only
worth of comic books in one season. They didn't even do
it's
they didn't
only
even do 2 years
in
worth
the
of comic.
fact
Okay,
in the
now
fact it's only 9 episodes. That's another thing. That
now
means they're gonna cram everything in here.
now we talked in one. I don't know if it was in pre-show or was in the episode. Last time we talked about X-Men, I said one of the things that troubled me was this show is supposed to be a continuation of the X-Men show from when we were young, right?
I think it was supposed to be that, but now
But
I ain't so sure.
but what troubled me was how they alluded to um, Morph having a thing for Wolverine, which I felt was weird because it
Yeah.
recontextualizes the relationship between Morph and. I mean, now you got Morph sitting around looking at a picture of you got Wolverine sitting around looking at a picture of Morph going Morph, Morph. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
and like what's going on behind the scenes with these two? If that one likes that one, like, but the voice acting for Morph, like, it sounded like a dude in drag. And I was like,
Mm.
that's wow, that's heavy handed, man. I was like, it was one thing when I didn't pick up on it the first season, but in the second season, it really sounds like RuPaul doing the voice
Oh wow.
of Morph, and I was like, that's
Did you
weird. Like, if
did
you
you catch
listen to
did you
Morph
catch
talk, pay attention. He's got an effeminateness to his voice now, and I'm like, they're making weird choices with this show.
did you did you see when he changed to Thor?
I didn't notice that. No.
Oh yeah, yeah. He morphed into Thor in one of the fight
Yeah,
scenes.
he's gonna try to
Yeah,
show
because he just
Wolverine his
appeared.
hammer.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah, they what else? They showed White Queen, um, yeah, Morphin Thor. I heard about I haven't seen anything on yeah, I see it's gonna be weird with Age of Apocalypse, the way they're doing what they're doing, and
Oh,
then
do you think they're
possibly
gonna do Age of
throwing
Apocalypse?
well, they already are with oh well,
No, Age
I
of
think
Apocalypse. Age of Apocalypse is
yeah,
something else.
yeah. I think they might eventually
Oh,
change into that later on in
oh,
the end of the season. But they remember you got Bishop there too.
yeah,
Oh, I tell you who I did like, Archangel. I
yeah.
saw a
He's in
clip
there. I mean, he's a
where
cool character.
they
I really don't.
show the when they show the transformation of what Apocalypse was putting him through
Right.
with Angel. That looks cool. Um, but I'm wondering
I wonder
if
what Gambit's gonna look like, because that's how Gambit's coming back.
as a
Apocalypse is gonna
horseman.
make he's gonna make him a horseman. Yeah. So what's Gambit gonna look like as a horseman?
Yeah, I want to see what that looks like too. I think that's going to be pretty strong.
I mean,
Yeah, they got it.
maybe this is what they're doing, and then that A story is gonna wow me. But I gotta tell you, man, using all of these other moments, just jam packing this show with these other moments from these very popular, very key comic moments, and doing nothing with them is really gonna upset me if it just keeps happening. I mean, it's like they're flipping through 40 years, 30 years worth of comics and just like throwing them out the windows. Like they must not expect to have many seasons, because if they're gonna just
Yeah,
throw away material like that, like, what the hell? And like, the mutants are already confusing enough as it is, because they're so interbred and inbred and what have you. So to like have all of their timeline be compressed the way they've compressed it in the show, it's incomprehensible. I've seen one other show do this, and it was a big epic fail. Young
what was that?
Justice. Young Justice did it.
Oh yeah,
Because Young Justice
yeah.
first season was pretty solid. Second season is pretty good too. When it
Oh,
got
you talking
picked
about
up,
after the break when they
when
came
it
back?
got picked up after the break, woof, that show was almost unwatchable, and that was hard for me because I was bought and sold for Young Justice until they came back from that break. Whew.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty dismal. But yeah, I mean, overall, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. There, I mean, with it, that's just the first 3 episodes. I do want to see more and see where the stories go. But for right now, I was entertained. I thought the animation was decent. I thought some of the character. I agree with you where they're cramming a lot into these 9 episodes on over 30 years worth of comics. So I think they need to kind of slow it down and pace it a little bit better. But overall, I was entertained. I'm looking forward to the rest.
Did
Um,
did Bishop come off a little too happy-go-lucky to you?
he did.
I was
No,
like, this dude is from a future where they killed all his friends. He came back here
yeah.
because this world's so messed up. This dude is more
I
damaged than this. He's way too happy. Forge
I actually
seemed more like Bishop.
yeah, I like Bishop in the first actual X-Men cartoon better than this one. When he was given when he saw Gambit and realized who he was, and he just went blasting at him, I was like, yeah, that was more like it. This one, he just came out the portal, was like, hey guys, like what?
Now,
What's going
when
on here?
another thing I noticed when Jubilee's escaping the Shield helicarrier, um,
No,
that's one thing I thought.
yeah,
Well, I was like, is that a helicarrier? Come on, man! Like,
yeah,
but uh, when she's freeing the other mutants, one of the dudes, like, it was a weird, like, I was like, is that an Easter egg? Like, one of the dudes is wearing a white T-shirt with Thunderbird's logo on it, and I was like,
yeah. I don't know
uh,
who that was, but
I mean, it could have been Warpath, right? Like, because Warpath is a member of X Force,
maybe a newer
but
version
but
of him or a younger version or a
but it was
retake.
really weird to see Warpath and Thunderbird's logo on a white T-shirt. Now,
Yeah,
who, like, I don't know. Like, I think there's a lot of reasons to stay away from it because people are gonna, if you do it, people will scream cultural appropriation.
yeah,
So maybe it's best if we don't see it, and maybe that's about the best as you're gonna get. But that's a shame for me because I always liked that character. I thought he was a really cool
yeah,
character.
yeah. He was. Yeah, that was kind of weird for to see that. Um, Surprised they didn't have Domino, uh, Shatterstar, and Pharaoh.
Well, I think the reason you wouldn't have Feral is because you do have what's her name? I know her
Wolfsbane.
name's Ronnie or Rainey. I can't remember.
Wolfsbane.
Wolfsbane. Yeah, they have her.
Yeah,
That was always a weird, confusing moment in comics, anyways. So like, it's probably best if they don't, because there's
yeah.
actually there's a scene where they fought, and I think it was Executioner's Song, and
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. I do
even the
remember that.
banter between them was like, I think Wolfsbane was like saying, "Are you just a rip off of me?" It's like, what
Yeah. It's like, what is
the
this?
yeah. So
Yeah,
some choices I kind of get, but I gotta tell you, man, like, as a dude I was bought and sold for Cable. I was about that mystery. I was all about it. Watching this story about Cable, I was bored out of my mind. I was like, he is not boring without the mystery, without the is Nate is baby Cable really Nate? Because remember, for the longest time, the guys with X Force didn't know his name was. He was
yeah. That's
he was
true.
around for the longest time before you even found out his name was Nate, and then fans are like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ooh! That's the name of the baby that Madeline Pryor and Scott Summers got to get rid of into the future." And
Yeah,
and he had a techno organic virus. Just Cable has an arm, and then like, and then when Stripe shows up, he's like, "Whoop!" You know, like, what?
yeah.
Is that the real? Is that the real? Is that the real name? This is the bad name. That's the good one. So
And
like,
then they came out with the Nate from the future who turned out to
oh,
be
X
X
Man,
Man. Yeah, yeah. I saw
Nate
that.
Summers, X Man,
X Man. Yeah, it's crazy.
which is what,
That
which is what the real powerful mutant that he would have been if he didn't have to hold his techno-organic virus in place with his I just yeah, the story of Cable was just not interesting without the mystery. So it's really weird
Yeah.
to see them doing, and they know that. It's, it's
Yeah,
like they
I actually would have liked to seen like a set of 10 episodes that showed the New Mutants from when Cable started and how it morphed into X Force. I think that would have been a series people would want to see.
maybe I need to watch it again because I mean they maybe they haven't revealed that Cable is the kid.
Well, they showed the correlation where he's
Okay, that's what I
with
thought.
the
I
arm,
thought so. I thought so.
with the
Okay.
arm. Yeah,
Yes,
remember how the arm
I
and
think
then
if
they,
it hasn't been said, it's at least clubbing you over the head.
yeah.
And because they haven't used any subtlety, there is no mystery. It makes it really boring. But if you had done this
It's like
exact same story,
they're trying to get to this big selling point, like maybe Onslaught, but they're trying to get through all of this other stuff
yeah, but
first.
I mean, but all you had to do is recapture the same thing they did in the comics. Have Cable show up as this mysterious benefactor of the X-Men when they're disenfranchised because Professor Xavier was shot essentially, and well, that happened after, didn't he? Yeah, but he was off world with the Shi'ar, right? Anyways, so they could have had him show up. You know, X Force obviously doesn't like him. X Men don't like him, but have him working alongside, just doing his thing, and at the end drop the Easter egg. Oh, that's that kid. That's your son. I mean, what a powerful moment that would have been for people who didn't know the secret already. So why would
Yeah.
you waste it the way you wasted it? I
I
mean,
guess they figured they already told that in the original series, but
did they?
yeah,
Did
you're
they
right.
though?
They did, but it was spread over like a bunch of years.
I see. I lost track of the original series, so
Yeah, yeah. The
I
original series was
remember. I
it
remember
was very
Morph coming
inconsistent.
back bad. That's all I remember. But I didn't even see those episodes. I just heard about it later. I just,
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
they're available on the Disney app,
I just kind
but
of feel like, I just kind of feel like there's so many opportunities that they could have held some information back or spent less time on Easter eggs and more time on telling stories, and we would have probably gotten a more enjoyable product that just doesn't feel like they're the way they're doing it right now. It just feels like they're lifting from everybody, not telling their stories faithfully.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and
I mean, there's plenty of stuff to tell. Um, I mean, you got the Forge Storm relationship. You got the rifts between Wolverine and the step back he took when Magneto did what he did with him. Uh, you had a lot of stuff going on.
I mean, and it's obvious that they're literally preaching to the choir because there's these moments where like when Jubilee's being interrogated, she tells Havoc, "You're just a rip off Cyclops," and you
Mm.
don't understand how big of a sting that would be until you understand that that's his brother.
Yeah,
So to not do any of the work explaining who that character is, but expect that comment to carry weight, then they're making the show for people that already know the stories they're ripping off. Like, what the hell for? Why would
mm.
you make a show for the people that know the stories if you're not even telling the stories? Tell your own goddamn story for with the time I'm giving you. Don't tell me like half of the stories that I know already and not give me anything new. Like, so again, maybe I'm being too harsh because it was just 3 episodes, but it just kind of felt like X-Men flashcards. Like, oh, this is Executioner Song. This is Magistrate Saga. This is Fatal Attraction. This is that, and to throw that much of your deck out and then still be able to play a decent game of cards is a little questionable. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
like,
I'm looking forward to
I didn't
the
hate watch it. I didn't hate watch it. So I'll say that I wasn't like, ooh, this is terrible. But
yeah. So what do we got coming up for the next week? We're coming up on Spider-Man coming quick, the brand new day movie.
Well,
Uh we're
I think
we're
the
gonna talk about
roadmap, we got SDCC. We just don't know where we're going to slot that in. So
yeah.
we're gonna have a discussion about the news coming out of SDCC. Probably have uh, comic convention survival guide episode. Maybe tell some funny stories from our
Yeah.
convention
Looking
time.
forward to that.
Um,
That should be good.
we were supposed to have that interviewee on, but
Mm.
things got shifted in the timeline for them. So um, because of that change, and because we were allowing SDC to fall wherever it was going to work best for actual content and guests, I think we have we have the Spider-Man episode in the run up for Brand New Day. So we're
Hmm.
gonna all Spider-Man show kind of like we did for Superman before the Super Bowl. Um, so I think we just need to figure out what we're gonna do if that guest is gonna happen, and then if it does happen,
Yeah,
we'll,
I'll get on that in the
I
coming
mean,
days and
we don't
try
have
to
to
nail
push
something
for
down.
it. It should align for when it makes the most sense for them,
Hmm.
and then but it doesn't have to be tied to their release date because we don't want
No,
to talk about their stuff. We want to talk about them as a person and so forth. So, um,
yeah, I think
but
we
yeah,
got that.
I think the only thing we've got is rock solid for sure is the Spider-Man episode before Brand New Day. So that would be the week before the 31st. That would be probably the 29th. We're going to do the
Hmm.
Spider-Man discussion episode. We'll probably talk about Spider-Man Noir. Probably
Yeah,
talk about some Spider-Man movies on shuffle and maybe relate them back to some comic books. And then
yeah,
in the prep for the movie coming.
yeah. I think we can definitely get those in and work those. Um, yeah, I'll talk more with that guest and see if we can probably get him on uh and work with that. But I think that brings the close for the X-Men 97. We'd love to hear from you guys on what your thoughts were in the first three episodes, and what are some of your guesses for what they're going to cover in the next six episodes. Remember, they come out weekly on Wednesdays on the Disney app. So definitely tune into those. Let us know what you thought about the first three. What were your favorite X-Men movies? Uh, Mine, I would say I'll share this little tidbit with you. X-Men, when it was released in theaters in 1999, up until then, it was the first movie that I actually sat down at the theater and watched. Got up from my seat after the credits rolled, went out to the lobby, purchased a second ticket, and went right back in and watched it again. Seeing Wolverine on the screen for the first time, Magneto, just that whole core group of X-Men and what that film did, it was equivalent to what the first Avengers movie did. And I ended up doing the same thing for the first Avengers movie. I'm a
Actually,
big fan of a lot of different characters on the screen at once. I was a big fan of the team books growing up. So seeing all those characters interact at one time. Now, even with its flaws back then, you go back and look at that first X-Men movie, and you're like, you know, you talked about spandex. They even riff and joke about it on, wearing the leather suits and stuff like that.
and
Just
it's
going
got
back and
James.
looking at it 26 years,
It's got
26
James
years later.
Marsden,
Yeah.
who's best known
Yeah.
for his role in Superman Returns.
Yeah. I think he would have let Logan put his claws through him if he'd have found out he was doing that role so many years later. Well, yeah, it was a good 13 years later.
He actually chose to do the Superman movie over doing the X Men
Over
movie.
X-Men 3 Last Stand.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because Bryan Singer, the director, left to go do that movie, and they got the guy from Rush Hour to direct X Men Last Stand, which X Men 1 and 2 were great. One was great because it was the first time you had them all on there. Two was even better because the first time you saw Wolverine go into Berserker Rage when they're storming the X Mansion and he jumps
Oh,
off that balcony and
surprise.
tears into the guy. Oh my gosh, that I
When
mean,
they're walking down the hall and he just claws the dude right in the chest, I was like,
yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
He there were dudes marking out in that theater standing, and that theater gave a standing ovation to that movie, regardless of where it went, what quips you had about it. Uh, that X Men movie, that second one was great. The
my
third
favorite,
one, yeah,
my favorite is
listen,
probably X Men Origins
go ahead.
Wolverine.
I actually was talking about that with a friend of mine the other day. There are some things that I liked about that movie. Uh, I like Leaf Schreiber as Sabretooth.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought he
great
did an
choice,
excellent
great
job.
choice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
he was in it. Was it an insurance commercial or something he's selling now? And it's been a lot of years since that movie came out, and he's showing his grays and everything. He almost looked like he could play Logan in that. But
Honestly,
I love it.
other than his portrayal in that movie, he looked a lot more squat and menacing in that movie than he does in anything else.
Yeah.
He's. I mean,
Well,
so
the difference that you had,
you were absolutely right though. What a choice. Now,
yeah, because I mean,
and
you
then
had
like,
two differences. Sabretooth, you had the 7 foot dude that played Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie Halloween trilogy as he was Sabretooth. So he's seven
Kane
feet tall,
Hodder.
dude. No, not Kane Hodder, the other guy.
I thought the
Uh,
guy who played Sabretooth was like Edward Main or something.
Tyler Maine.
Tyler
Yes,
Main. That's right.
Tyler
Yeah.
Maine played Michael Myers in the
I didn't.
Halloween
I'm
Rob
thinking of
Zombie.
Jason Voorhees. I
Yeah,
think Kane Hodder is Jason Voorhees.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah, Tyler Maine played so a different transition from that Sabretooth and X-Men one to the X-Men Origins one. I liked the whole Team X, Weapon X team thing they had. It was the first inclination we got a Deadpool.
history is recontextual. I was going to say a lot of people would say that they like that we got Deadpool from that movie, even though that's not the preferred version of Deadpool. But I personally
well,
think that.
here's the correlation to that, Savage Jody. The Deadpool that we got in the Deadpool movies isn't the Deadpool that debuted in New Mutants number 98. Two totally different
Oh no,
characters.
you ain't going to get a disagreement on that one.
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
personally
So
think
we're
I think that Ryan Reynolds' movie Poison. So
yeah.
um, I think that I'm very glad to hear that he turned Gunn down. His Gunn offered him Green Lantern again. I don't know if
That
that's
was
a
a
joke.
rib.
I don't know if that's a
That was a
joke.
rib. That was a rib because he called it in from a talk show. He called him live when he was being interviewed.
Oh, is that right?
That was a rib. Yeah, they got an ongoing feud going on,
I
and
didn't
that
know that. Yeah,
because yeah, because Ryan Reynolds answered to him and told him "f you, f off." Yeah, I think he
because
hung up the phone.
I just stuff I've learned about Ryan Reynolds over the last couple of years. He does not have the fan goodwill that everybody talks about how instrumental he was about getting Deadpool brought to the screen. But if you put that in context of the way he is in his other projects, he's constantly muscling people out because he wants to be the center of attention. He just constantly tries to push himself up. So he'll get the movie by any means necessary, and then he'll like start messing with the script, and he wants writer credit. He's like, "Well, I worked on this much. Can I get producer credit?" To the point where he's like
Yeah,
shoving people out, and he just tried to do the same thing with his wife, and the whole thing blew up in their face. So now
yeah,
they're caught with their pants down because now we know, oh, he does this all the time. And the guy who was in the first Deadpool movie, I think his name is J.K. Miller, J.P. Miller.
yeah. I know you're talking about
He's the
the
comedian,
wisecracking guy.
the
Yeah,
wisecracking guy. Apparently, those two parted companies for bad reasons, and
yeah. I heard that too.
People at the time were like, you just sour grapes because this guy is, successful. But with everything we know now, it sounds like no, um, he's just a Ryan Reynolds is just a bag of D words to people that he has to work with because all he cares about himself. He'll do anything to get himself ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Hopefully,
to
Russell.
weaponize, to weaponize rape and sexual assault, sexual harassment allegations to try to ruin somebody's career and steal their movie from them is just a bridge too far, and
Yeah,
that's what they did. Sorry if you don't know
yeah.
about that,
Nah,
but
yeah. I've heard some things rumbling on that, but yeah, yeah. Uh, I just lost my train of thought, but uh, yeah, we're definitely going to get into more of that and find out what else they're doing with X-Men. So on a future episode, we'll end up recapping episodes 3 through 9 and what happened with the rest of the season and what we thought. Hopefully, good things. Uh, I like you. I'm a big Cable fan. That's why I was sporting the Greg Capullo version. A lot of different versions. I mean, Liefeld that conceptualized and created Cable. You had the Greg Capullo version, the Jim Lee version, the John Romita Jr. version. A lot of different incarnations of that character, and he was always the character. Like you said, he came off like the Punisher for X-Men with all the big guns and shiny cybernetics, and just a cool looking character to see associated with
the way
X-Men because
Josh Brolin played him was genius.
yeah.
It's exactly how that
Oh yeah,
character should be.
I love the way he played him in Deadpool, man. I went back and watched that and how he's walking, you know, through that and they're telling him the story. I was like, man, I would love to see. I would have loved. There you go. That's the answer to your questions. If somehow, not saying they got to re-release the movies, but if we got like a director's cut or something, a future project where they had to take that Josh Brolin Cable and put him in those old X-Men movies or Wolverine movies, I thought that would have been cool to see Hugh Jackman interact with Josh Brolin Cable, where they're fighting back to back and they're in there. I think that would have been cool to see.
I mean, with
I
our
think that would have been cool.
technology, a time traveling Cable, you could have him
Yes.
time travel back into those movies, like literally into those movies.
See,
Reuse footage.
I think
That would be
with the
so awesome.
With the Russo brothers, I think they may be keeping that secret because it's funny that Josh Brolin's been asked several times if he's going to be reprising his role, and he said nothing. He
He is
changed the
reprising his
subject.
role. He's reprising his role as Thanos, and my understanding is Thanos is going to be one of the minions of Doom in this movie.
We'll see what
What?
that does, but I hope he does Cable again. I would love to see that if he does Cable again.
I think it's a shame that
I mean, even if it's like a one or two or three scenes.
nah, I'm done with that. Marvel is not Marvel, Fox, Sony are not using that right. I'm sorry. Like they're tell better stories. F the cameos until you can tell better stories. The
Well,
way they
I mean,
use
that's how it
Chris
starts.
Evans to complain about money, to have complaints about money to the point that they're going to reset all the fan goodwill because you don't want to spend money, but you're going to spend money to have Chris Evans come in on some damn fake out to make a joke about how he was also the Human Torch and toying with the multiverse saga because like I said earlier, I'm tired of seeing this live action notion that like, oh yeah, we're both Superman, but why do you not look like me? Like that works in the comics because it's supposed to be a nod to the style difference, but if they're supposed to be the same person, they'd look the same. They're not. It doesn't make sense for
Yeah.
them to be different people. So standing
Uh,
Tyler Hoechlin as Superman, the Teen Wolf 5 o'clock shadow Superman, and putting him next to Brandon Ruth as Kingdom Come Superman just doesn't make sense to me unless they were
yeah.
different people. You know,
Yeah.
they started that with the Flash. It's because they keep wanting to recycle actors on these shows. The CW shows. they would just constantly recycle actors and make a new excuse for them to be on the show as another character. Oh, it's Barry's dad, the guy from Dawson's Creek who played the original Flash. But we're gonna bring him in as Jay Garrick. Weird moment, right? Oh, but we're gonna bring him in as this. We're gonna bring him in as that. Like what? What? Like, and
It's,
it's like
yeah,
it's just like
it's a hard
it's
pill to
like.
swallow when you're somebody
But
that
it's
follows it
because
all.
they're
That
trying to sell these movies based on fan service alone. Do a better job telling movies and stop worrying about the fan service. You know,
yeah,
look at that Flash movie. The Flash movie, I feel like, used Michael Keaton as fan service to sell that movie. And at least you could have made him consistent with the Michael Keaton Batman you knew, but they didn't. He acted like a lunatic in that movie when they were in the kitchen. It was played for comedy. It was played for a laugh. So it really cheapens the fact that this guy's supposed to be going bare knuckle with a damn Kryptonian later in the movie.
yeah.
Or or the Nicolas Cage Superman thing at the end of the movie when they're in the multiverse. I'm so tired of this multiverse idea because it's not cute. It's not clever. When when it was originally conceived at DC, it was based on a book called A Ring Around the Sun. It believed in the science fiction book. There's a circle of Earths, all parallel Earths that just circled the sun, and all the world was slightly different on each one. It was used very effectively in Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's been used in other crises very effectively ever since then. But every time they try to bring it into TV, they make dumb crap out of it because they don't want to treat it with the respect it needs to be, and it's an opportunity to bring on some Easter egg from some show that they used to know or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I like the fact that we can play homage to those things. I like the fact that we were going to pay respects to the places we came from, but you can do that and be a competent writer at the same time. You don't have to keep like, well, press the I believe button because this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you on that. Yeah. They got to get better with that. We talked about that for a long time, and I know we'll keep talking about it on future episodes about these castings and where they go with them and what the idea was behind this or that with these so many characters that they're going to be playing with in the future in both universes, Marvel and DC. So we'll bring it to you. Tell us some of your favorite X-Men movies, even the spin-offs, the Wolverine movies, in that whole universe. Tell us what you like, what castings you like, what story decisions they decided to riff off. Because remember, in those X-Men and Wolverine movies, the whole combination they pulled from the comics as well, in which the origins or which characters they decided to use and what versions of those characters. Because remember, guys, when you're reading these comics, and then they're going to these movies and making it to the cinematic universe or animated universe. They are so many different incarnations of these characters that they decide to use. I mean, there's been several different takes on Wolverine, several different takes on Cyclops, several different takes on Professor X and Magneto and the Storms and the Jubilees. So, I again, is it fun being a writer or director and picking on which ones you're going to use because you can't please everybody? But getting into that aspect of what qualities you want to use in building these characters for the cinematic or animated universes is not an easy job, especially when you got a IP that's been around for so long and you got so much source material. I mean, what was good, what was bad, and what's going to make it less confusing uh, when you get there. So in this day and age. But I mean, that's subjects for more episodes when we come up. But please comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you liked about the X-Men 97 season so far. New episodes on Wednesdays. And tell us more about the movies and the spinoffs and cartoon and the comics. What were your favorite X-Men comic books and storylines? We'd love to hear from you guys. And we do read every comment and involve it and put it into our discussions throughout the week. So we're thinking about you guys. We appreciate all the love. Jody, you got anything? Yeah,
We'll see you next week. It's another long one, Telly. We
yeah.
over. Thanks again for joining us. If you like what you saw, give us a like.
If you didn't, let us know how we can do better. If you know someone else who might like us, please share. Help us boost the signal. For audio only, they can find us on Spotify by searching for Secret Identities Podcast. Or for full video, tell them they can find us on YouTube at Secret Identities Pod. And of course, every episode is free to listen on Patreon at www.patreon.com/secretidentities. We also share clips of the show occasionally on Instagram at secret_identities_media or on TikTok at secret_identities_pod. Be sure to check out those socials. Drop us a like, give us a follow, turn on notifications. That way you will always be updated so you never miss an episode. You can look out for our streaming schedule or just see some of the news and funnies that we share throughout the week. And don't forget to please follow us or subscribe wherever you are listening from.